ahead, Michael, and you can start your meeting.
All right. Well, hello, everyone. As Rhonda mentioned, we're going to be going over the one of the new intercompany framework features today called Intercompany Netting. And we're going to give you a little background on that, as she said, and then, walk through a demo just to highlight some of the key features of this. So again, I am Michael Labuda, senior consultant here at GUIF. I've been with the firm for about a little over 5.5 years now, and with the ERP team for about 3. Okay, so intercompany netting. So this is a new component of the intercompany framework feature. So this has existed in NetSuite. You may be familiar with pairing intercompany transactions or the automated intercompany transaction feature of NetSuite. So this enables users to pretty much settle or complete, open intercompany AP and AR balances for subsidiaries, set up as or represented as customers and vendors in the system, instead of, using some type of payment transaction or journal to, close out those open balances for intercompany transactions. So what this does is it automatically generates settlements for these to close them out for the intercompany transactions, which is a great help for, reduce inaccuracies that, may have been created from the traditional methods of, completing these things manually. An example, as I said before, using like a payment or a journal entry transaction. So the audience for this, it's applicable to all verticals, especially, any of you that, have, a decent amount of intercompany transactions between, 2 subsidiaries or many. And the users and roles, obviously, this focuses on is within the accounting realm. So controllers, CFOs, senior accountants, mostly applicable to them. So I'm going to go through some of these in the demo on how to set it up, but I just wanted to highlight these. So it's just 2 features, the automated intercompany management feature and the intercompany framework feature. So we're going to go through and show you where those are in the enable features page to get those checked and set up. And then there's a few other requirements for these as well. So on your invoice and bill transaction forms for your intercompany entities for the transactions, you're going to want to show the paired intercompany transaction field. That way you're able to link the 2 transactions in order to net them. So some of you might be familiar with this. The paired intercompany transaction field has been around for a while from legacy automated intercompany management feature. And then also some of the legacy other items that we'll want to make sure we set up are in the customer and vendor entry forms. So when we create those intercompany customers and vendors, we're going to want to make sure we have that represent subsidiary field. That way we can tie that intercompany customer to the applicable subsidiary. And I just highlighted there that, you have to create these intercompany customers and vendors in order for this intercompany netting to work. Just carrying on a few more permissions here. So just some of the user permissions, just in case you're, running this from a role outside of the administrator role, like I'm going to do today. So just the netting settlement permission for creation, the netting settlement approval and permission for approval, and to make sure that user's role has access to all the applicable subsidiaries that are incurring those intercompany transactions. Okay, I just want to highlight some of the components of the intercompany netting. Again, we'll show you this in the demo, but the balance overview is a new report. So this is going to list all of your subsidiaries and their open AP and AR balances between the other subsidiaries. So it's going to give you a nice list of just open items in total between the two and what's able to be netted. So it's important that there has to be a mutual balance for a subsidiary between, two, like must have a payable and a receivable from the subsidiary in order to net the transaction. Okay, after that is the netting workbench. So this is where you're going to physically select the transactions you would like to net against each other. So you're going to be able to see the paired transaction, what subsidiary it's from, to, you're going to be able to see the currency and the total nettable amounts. And then after that is the netting statement. So that's basically the header transaction of what you're going to drive and what you're going to net together. So that's going to give you all the relevant information that you need. That's going to detail, okay, what are we netting? What's going to be, closed out, and so on and so forth. And then the settlement is a component of the statement. So the settlement, think of that as like your individual GL impact. So that's going to be what closes out those open invoices or bills or journal entries. And then if you're familiar with the intercompany time and expense feature, if you've used that for expense reports or time, this intercompany netting is also using the intercompany clearing account. So that's a other current asset account that is created in your system whenever you go to initiate any, or if you're, pairing transactions to be used in the netting. Next, just want to go over some of the efficiencies you can obtain from the intercompany netting feature. So it certainly helps to reduce the effort accounting finance teams spend in reconciling intercompany transactions. If you have intercompany between subsidiaries in different countries, the revaluation process, and then could also, if you are actually making payments to those vendors or those intercompany customers or vendors, they can decrease that time spent, doing bank reconciliations, cut down on the foreign currency exposure if you're sending payment processing, and can eliminate some, fees associated with those. And then lastly, ultimately, it certainly simplifies your period-end closing process because you're able to eliminate some of those due to, due from balances via the netting before you get to the, the period end management where you're eliminating intercompany transactions. There are also a few limitations with this. So the zero payment is not supported. So you cannot clear or net the balances between two subsidiaries if there's not a mutual balance of AP and AR between the two. So just want to make that clear. And then I want to go over the supported transactions. So that is intercompany journals, intercompany invoices, bills, intercompany vendor credits, and intercompany credit memos. And then lastly, corporate exchange rate types not supported, and any classification other than a subsidiary is not supported. So with that, we'll get into our demo here. So I'm just in our demo account. So first and foremost, I just want to show you guys where we set those up. The automated intercompany management feature and intercompany framework feature. So I'm in the admin role. So under setup, you just come to company, enable features. And then under the accounting tab, scroll down a little bit. You can see we have those checked for the automated intercompany management feature, as well as the intercompany framework feature. So we're going to want to make sure those two are checked prior to running this. So once those are checked, you can save. So we're good to go here. And then I just want to quickly highlight the other fields. So for your intercompany customers, again, want to make sure you have that represent subsidiary in there. So customer subsidiary A, represented by subsidiary A. And the same holds true for the vendors. So subsidiary B, primary is A, primary on this one is B. Then on the invoices, I talked about bringing out those paired intercompany transaction fields. You want to make sure that's set up. So that's on the invoice and that's on the bill. We can see that these two are linked here. So I want to make sure those are set up. Okay. So to get to the balance overview page from the admin role, you'll want to come into transactions, financial, and scroll down, and then intercompany netting. And then we'll click the balance overview page here. So again, this is going to give us a total amount, at least, for what's due to or due from each subsidiary here. So for the purposes today, I just have transactions set up for subsidiary A and subsidiary B. But if you have a number of subsidiaries, you can, always filter down to the applicable one and select, your due from. Quickly remove those filters if you'd like. So again, we're on the balance overview page. So whenever you do have transactions available for netting, you can click this new button here. So we're going to focus on subsidiary A to subsidiary B. So this is the netting workbench I was speaking on in the initial PowerPoint. So there's a few items here. So we're just looking at, accounts payable in subsidiary A and subsidiary B for due to, due from, subsidiary A due to, due from subsidiary B. So it's going to give us a nettable amount here. So there is some AI involved with this. You could suggest netting. So NetSuite will basically take a look at the open transactions here and suggest which ones should be netted. And as we can see, you can apply a portion or by letting it's kind of like the apply all feature to the point where you can, put a partial amount to reduce an open balance, or we can uncheck these and pick one on our own. So another cool thing is that this pairing feature here, so we'll tell you which transaction is paired with which. So we'll select a couple more here. And then the difference must be 0. So once we select the open balances, we're going to click Save. And this is going to bring us to our netting statement. So again, this is basically the header transaction, think of it that way, that drives the individual settlements. So these settlements will be closing out the open transactions I had selected on the previous page. Now, if we drill into one of these, you can see that it's still pending approval, so it hasn't been posted yet. So it's nice to have that, at least that review stage prior to, closing those out. If you'd like to, take a look at the transactions you selected, take a look at the settlements that are going to be generated. This does say no for posting for now, but as soon as I approve, it will post those. Okay. So once we're ready to approve, we can just click approve. Now our netting statement is complete. Go back to our settlements. Take a look at this one that we just looked at. And then on these individual settlements, you can see what it was applied to. So we can see it was applied to invoice 370 and journal number 66. So just to open up this invoice real quick to show you, you can see that it's paid in full. On the related records, you can see we have that netting settlement attached to that transaction. And once you're confident with that, everything's good, that completes the process for closing out those intercompany transactions. Okay. So now we're going to open it up for some Q&A, correct, Rhonda?
Yes, anyone have any questions? Feel free to speak now.
Hi, this is AJ. My quick question into this, this seems like they're just building off of the functionality already available and making for an easier UI experience or organizational experience. Am I perceiving that correctly?
Yeah. So you can address, you know, these intercompany transactions ahead of time, whereas traditionally, you know, these things are addressed in the period end management part of the checklist. So it gives you the ability to, you know, keep up with those to alleviate, you know, an increasing number at the end of the accounting period.
Anyone
Gotcha.
else?
Thank you.
Anyone else have any questions? Okay, Mike, that was really good. First time I've seen that, so it's very good. You know, if anyone wants to follow up with a question later, feel free to email me. The recording we will post on the PittNUG website. And so any follow-up, just, you know, reach out to me and I can get you some information. But Mike, I appreciate you taking the time to show this tool. And
Absolutely.
If anyone has any ideas for January's webinar, I don't believe we have anything scheduled yet. Or if there is even, if it's not something that you want to show of NetSuite, if there's a third-party product you're interested in, we can set something up with a third party. Although we want to try to keep it as mostly, you know, some NetSuite tips and tricks and things like that. But any ideas is appreciated. So with that, this PittNUG webinar